Hi there. Sorry about that. My name is Kevin Daugherty, and I'm with the Illinois Ag in the Classroom program. I'm going to rely on Megan to text me to make sure that I am indeed on. Uh, so I am texting her, and I'm going to kill 35 seconds or so waiting on her to text back. So again, Kevin Daugherty, some of you are coming on now, so I see a couple of you coming back. I'm really sorry about that. So again, Kevin Daugherty with Ag in the Classroom. Yay! Emma says she can hear. Thank you. So we'll wait for a couple more. I might have blown my chance with we had huge numbers. Megan, we had double digits. So hoping that was hopefully we get back up to those again here in a second here. But I'm Kevin Daugherty with Ag in the Classroom, coming to you live from my basement, and now you can hear me. I've got a wife and 3 kids all working from home. My wife's on the second floor. Sorry, it's third to me. My kids are all on the main floor, rotating around, and I got secluded in the basement. So yeah, I'm actually joining you from the basement, and hanging in our basement proudly are our founding farmers, George Washington, and Abe Lincoln. So that's what we've got in the background. So with that, Megan says, tell us about yourself to start off. So I'll begin with that. My name is Kevin Daugherty, and I'm the Education Director for the Ag in the Classroom program. Actually, now, if you see my title, it actually says I'm the Director of the Center for Ag Engagement. 20 years ago, I came to the Illinois Farm Bureau working primarily with the Ag in the Classroom program. And a couple years ago, they added to my job description, in addition to formal classroom education, I also picked up our consumer education. So 75% of my job is still agriculture in the classroom. 25% is supervising our consumer education group. I've got a great consumer education manager. And that's a little bit about what I do. So in our job, we work to engage classrooms and consumers and tell them a little bit about agriculture. Within the Illinois Farm Bureau, our area is the Unfarm Bureau part. We are not, and we're also kind of the un-ag ed part too. We are not ag education. We're education about agriculture. So I like to say that we're brought to you kind of like Sesame Street. We're brought to you by the number by the number 6 and by the number 2. Remember, less than 2% of the American population works on a farm, has farm background. So our job is the other 98%. And that 6%, somewhere between 6 and 8%, that's the number of students that take an ag program. Our job is everybody else. So that's a little bit about what we are going to do. So to start off with that, my background, I spent 10 years as a classroom history and English teacher. I taught in a bedroom community of the Champaign-Urbana area. I taught in at Mahomet Seymour. I taught junior high history and English and high school history and English for 10 years. Before going to pursue a degree in training and development and education, I then worked for a publishing company developing curriculum. And coming to the Farm Bureau, what I did was we publish our own materials, and we know stuff about education, and we train people. So that's why I was well suited for it. I'm originally from Douglas County. I actually grew up on the Douglas-Coles County border. Some of you might know Mr. Kuhn from Oakland High School. He's a couple years older than me, not several, but a couple years older than me. And he was in high school a little before I was in high school, but we were around at the same time, and that's originally where I'm from. My parents and family think it's hysterical that I ended up in agriculture because I wanted nothing to do with it. So a little bit about myself. I do have a wife and 3 kids, and they're all sheltering at home. I do have a daughter that's supposed to be graduating as a senior in college. That's obviously been postponed until December. She'll be going to grad school, and I have a son that's a senior in high school. His graduation has been postponed as well, so we'll see when that happens. My other daughter works in agriculture. She works as a seed technician at a local seed plant. So with that, what's a typical day like, and what kind of training do we have? Well, Before COVID-19, a typical day wasn't very typical. We have roughly three parts to our job and our job description. Myself and our education specialist, we roughly divide our job into thirds. One third is resource development. And some of you might be familiar with our ag mags and our other publications and our calendars. We write those. My staff and I, we write those. So we write those, we review those, we send them to our art department, we get them all marketed and out to the county. So we develop resources, lessons that can easily integrate agriculture into a traditional classroom setting. Again, your ag teachers, your traditional ag education folks, you're learning about agriculture. We're trying to put that message of agriculture into math, science, social studies, and language arts. So that's really our goal with that, resource development. The second part is training, teacher training. So this summer, it looks like most of our teacher training will be canceled, but we do a lot of teacher training throughout the school year during those institute days when you guys get a half day or a full day off. Our county coordinators and our state office staff, we go in and we provide training for teachers that they can learn how to use ag resources and integrate them into their curriculum. Another fun part of our job is we also work with colleges and universities around the state. Typically, we work with 19 to 20 colleges and universities, and we go to their methods classes. When you guys get a student teacher, they've studied education for a year or two before they get to that student teaching realm. And we at Southern, Eastern, Western, University of Illinois Springfield, Aurora University, a number of colleges and universities, we go in and actually do presentations and show them how they can integrate agriculture into a math, science, social studies, or language arts classroom. So that's the second third of our job is teacher training. And then the third part is county support. Illinois is fortunate because we have a number of county programs. Our county programs are really the strength of our system. Illinois is the only state program. Every state does have an Ag in the Classroom program, but we're the only state program that has county paid staff that do this. Iowa has one person that's a county staff person that oversees 6 counties. There's one county in Wisconsin that pays someone to do ag literacy type things. Oklahoma and New York each have 1 or 2, but for the most part, what other states utilize is they use a system of volunteers. And it's tough for someone to coordinate all the ag literacy efforts for a whole county based off of a volunteer network. So we're very fortunate to partner with FCAE, the commodity organizations, the State Department of Agriculture, our extension and our soil and water conservation districts to help provide funding for our county ag literacy coordinators. So that's our third part of our job. What are some of the different positions relating to the Ag in the Classroom program? Well, within the state office, I'm the director. I have a manager, and we have 2 specialists. So a very small, lean and mean staff when you look at what we're doing. But then we have almost 90 coordinators across the state. Those are local positions, and some of those are full-time. Some of those are part-time. They can range from anywhere from less than 20 hours a week during the 9 months of the school year, all the way to full-time, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks of the year. So it really depends on what the county is doing. So those are the positions that are related to it. We also work really closely with our commodity groups. Actually, before I jumped on this call, I was working with the commodity groups, talking with the folks from Illinois Pork Producers, Illinois Corn Growers, Illinois Soybean Association, the Illinois Beef Association, and Midwest Dairy. They have folks that are also charged with their consumer or classroom-facing messaging. A lot of them are also have the job of marketing, and as you can imagine, things are a little messed up all across agriculture and all across the United States as we go through this current crisis. But that's one of the things that we do, and those are some of the positions that we relate to. Additionally, we do work with NRCS. We work with the Department of Natural Resources. We work with Nutrients for Life. They all have education folks as well that are trying to spread that positive message of agriculture and about what's going on. And I think one of those things really showed through yesterday. If you aren't fans of social media, and I know that we are on Facebook, so this is welcome to the dark side for you younger students. But our primary messaging is for your teachers, and a lot of them still use Facebook. If you have Facebook access, go ahead and like us at Illinois Ag in the Classroom, and scroll back to yesterday about 8 o'clock in the morning. One of the cool things we did was working with all of our coordinators across the state, those who were still able to work and that kind of stuff. But we threw a beach ball across the state to celebrate Earth Day. But one of the things that all of the commodity groups really work on is our messaging. And this year, pre-March 17th, the day that the governor shut down schools for the first time, pre that date, we were all about sustainability and celebrating the 50th anniversary of Earth Day and how important that was. That was a message that really resonated with our teachers who aren't necessarily in agriculture, but everybody could get behind that environmental aspect. Where did I go to college? I did go to the University of Illinois. I was not in the College of Agriculture. I went to the University of Illinois and I was in the College of Education. The grand plan was I was going to go to law school, but my parents said you have to have a backup plan. You can't just go study pre-law. So I went into history and English education, found out that I really liked education and working with students, and never did fill out that law school application side. I did spend a little time at the University of Illinois and in the College of Agriculture, just briefly, because I took rural sociology classes. Rural sociology, the study of what goes on in rural areas and what make people tick in those areas. Actually, met my wife in one of those classes. She's an agriculture major. She graduated with agricultural economics. She actually works for Growmark. You might know Growmark as the parent company of your local FS, but she does marketing research and economic research for Growmark. So that's what I did at the U of I. My master's is in adult education and training from Eastern Illinois University. So that's my background. Across the nation, most folks that have my position were in ag or ag ed. Some, I believe there are two others that have education degrees as opposed to agriculture, and they went through the ranks as elementary principals, that type of thing. A lot more ag or ag marketing is where it was at. Favorite part of my job. Up until this recent crisis, the favorite part of my job has been that everything is different on a different day. Been fortunate enough that within the Farm Bureau system, they recognize the powerful work that our counties do. So pre-March 17th, it was not uncommon for me to spend at least a day or two out of the office. So that's what it was about. Right now, it's the good part is there's still no typical day. Lots of new things come up on the fire. It's not taking stuff from one pile and putting it into the other. We're dealing with multiple issues. Earlier today, I was helping folks fill out a grant. I worked with a teacher from Michigan who was trying to access some information about Illinois. We're developing some really cool resources to go online to help see part of those things. So that's what we've gone. Let's see. What classes did I take, or would I recommend someone to take? And this kind of goes on to, Megan said to end with this last question, but my advice to you as students is read everything you can. It is a question that I ask in every interview situation. What are you reading? And I will tell you, when people have a good answer to what they're reading and are passionate about what they've read, they're my good employees. I ask this in our intern situations. I ask this for my specialist. Any time that I have an opportunity to ask people what they're reading, that's what I really want to know about. So I don't care what it is, but read with passion. So that's one of my biggest pieces of advice. What classes would I recommend someone to take? Get out of your comfort zone. If you are studying agriculture and you have done you grew up on a livestock farm, take more crop classes. If you grew up on a grain farm, take livestock classes. Everybody needs to take soils classes. Everyone needs to take that type of activity. if I could go back and take different or more classes in college, what would they be? Um, I would probably take more psychology classes. I hated them when I was in school, but I really see that the psychology and that training aspect that goes along with education is really um, uh, really important. Um, again, the classes that I took in college to get me where I am now. Again, Illinois Farm Bureau was looking for somebody with education, so that was the big part. The good question here from Haley: what was the hardest part about your job when you found out about COVID-19? The hardest part of my job when we found out about the closure and things shutting down was how do we turn on a dime? And we are working with that with our coordinators right now. We're all about the face to face. We are a traditional um, education uh, presenter. So we are all about education and trying to get people to transition into this online learning world. If you haven't been on our Facebook site or our blog, beyondthebarndoors.wordpress.com, I encourage you to go there and look. We're trying to find ways to engage students with agriculture even today, and for their teachers to do this with a couple of challenges. We had some on Earth Day. Um, we had some on Earth Day. We're going to have one on STEM design and making your own tractors. Those things that'll be coming up, that type of thing. So that's been the hardest part is turning things from all face to face to digital. It's also tough. I'm in the basement, so I drew the short straw. The the week that we were first scheduled for COVID-19, both my kids were on spring break, so they didn't have to do online learning. So I was up on the second floor. My wife was on the main level of the house, and when everyone started going back to school, I had to go to the basement. So that's actually been pretty tough. It's a nice basement, but a little tough. Then Margaret asks, interested in ag ed, what advice do you have for teachers and future students in ag ed? Again, because I wasn't in ag ed, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to have a broad variety of what you're able to teach. I'll switch hats and go from my role here with ag ed, and I'll put on my school board member hat. I'm the president of our local board of education. I live in Leroy, which is in eastern McLean County. Mr. Perry is our ag teacher. He does a phenomenal job for us here in Leroy. Um, One of the things that I think that you would see is that you're it. When you go to ag education, look at your schools. No matter how big or how small, you got one ag teacher, maybe two, in some places maybe three, but those are the exceptions. You look at your English staff. You put your junior high and your senior high together. You got 6 or 7 English teachers. You got 3 or 4 history teachers. You've got lots of people that you can connect with. My advice for ag ed is study a little bit of everything. And probably as equally important as studying is network. You don't have to be the best welder, but you need to find out who the best welder is, who can help you do your job. You don't have to be the best soil technician. You need to find out who the best soil tech is. What sparked my interest to start the career I'm in now? I've been with the Farm Bureau now 20 years, Kinsey, and literally I'd been a teacher. I was then with a publishing company, and I was looking to refine my skills. This offered me an opportunity to become a boss and to work with other projects. Some of you might remember Champaign County had an ag literacy coordinator. Maybe you would remember this, but they had an ag literacy coordinator that actually came into my classroom a couple of times, and I was interested in what she did. Little did I know that later on I would be working with her. But I was all about education. I had great teachers, and I think that even during this crisis, you probably will have seen those teachers come through. So